Fall with KIPTA Area Agency on Aging. We are part of the Kentucky Coalition for Healthy Communities, which was the recipient of the Plan4Health funding. We're going to talk just a little bit about one of our initiatives, which was community garden implementation in our region. A little bit about our coalition. So the current coalition started as an extension of a diabetes coalition that was funded by a 5-year CDC grant. And our major partner in this work has been the University of Louisville's Kent School of Social Work and the Institute for Sustainable Health and Optimal Aging. They were the evaluation partners on the CDC grant and now are working with us on this and a couple of other initiatives. And in addition to the university, we work with the local health departments pretty extensively, extension offices, and some health plans that are located in our counties. And then some of our counties have pretty robust community member involvement as well. So our mission is to get Kentucky to sustain optimal health for all of our residents. It's a pretty broad vision, but we hope to achieve it someday. And our mission is to improve the health of all of our residents by promoting access to health care, encouraging people to live and model healthy behaviors, supporting an environment with no barriers to health, and creating collaborative communities of health. So our target population is a 6-county region around Jefferson County, which is where Louisville, the major city, is located. The total population of the 6-county region is just under 230,000, and we're focusing specifically on adults 45 and older. The median age in this area is higher than the state and national median age. The unemployment rate is higher than the state and national average. All 6 counties demonstrate a higher than national rate of inadequate consumption of fruits and vegetables and a lack of physical activity, which is why our coalition decided to focus on both physical activity and nutrition, for this grant. Our rates of chronic diseases are also higher than the national average and in many cases higher than the state average. So for our community garden plan, we decided to keep it pretty simple. We partnered with local health and wellness coalitions that had a large community member base. We started the conversation around community gardens. We surveyed local officials for any restrictions on community gardens, and luckily there were none in our rural communities. And then we got a small team together to start working on planning and implementation. We used donations, fundraising, partnerships to buy the supplies, and we mainly used existing structures for food distribution, so like food banks, assisted living facilities, and community centers. So that works pretty well in some places. We had this garden at an assisted living facility, and it was constructed and planted by high school agriculture students. So we had an intergenerational component there, and the assisted living facility was able to use the produce while it was fresh. And then some of our gardens didn't work out so well, and that's kind of where we discovered an issue with this plan. It's that it was pretty heavily reliant on the host site being fully committed, and that varied from site to site. And in this case, the executive director left halfway through the garden implementation, and it caused it to not be as successful as we would have liked. So like I said, some of the challenges was that the labor and the interest varied depending on the site, and it was difficult to get sustained funding. So we decided to try to find a partner that could be replicated across areas and focused on the school system. So in Kentucky, family resource offices are located in each region based on the amount of free or reduced lunches that school system gets. And so we are guaranteed to reach the most vulnerable population by working with the family resource office. And we were approached by one of the family resource and youth service center coordinators in Shelby County who wanted to start a garden there. So we decided to pilot our new approach at that school. So in working with the family resource coordinators are called FRYSCs here in Kentucky, and in working with them, we realized we can get a lot of important school stakeholders to buy into the community garden concept. So in this school, we've gotten the principal on board, a school teacher who wants to include the garden in her classroom. And then most importantly, we got the maintenance staff on board. So they're going to help us in maintaining the garden, which is the most important part. And then we've also worked with the master gardener from the extension office to do some teaching during implementation. And then to provide an intergenerational component, we're working with the senior center to do some of their programming around maybe being involved in the garden maintenance and upkeep. So in planning this garden, we have used the green tool to help guide some of our work. It comes out of Columbia University, and it's a good tool to make sure that your gardens are integrated in the schools in a way that will make them sustainable. And we decided also that we want the garden to have a large community component and to have some of the produce go beyond the school walls, so working with food pantries and other local agencies to distribute some of the produce. So, like I said earlier, a big reason for us working with the FRYSCs was that this model is sustainable, and it's something that can be replicated easily across different school systems. So it's dependent on the community garden actually becoming part of the school programming, as well as the senior center. There's also a lot of different resources for these gardens. Kidsgardening.org is a good resource, and like I said, the green tool has been very helpful. So, and as well as use of the county extension offices as a resource. In addition to that, schools actually are pretty successful in our area with fundraisers. So we've realized that we don't have to depend on grant funding for supplies, which makes it more sustainable and reliable as well. And then some of our schools actually have greenhouses, so that makes it easier to get plants and supplies. So I think that's it, and there's our contact information if you all have any questions.